saying the hardware.
Oh,
The system, everything started up, everything was tested, it should be working. It's a problem.
That place across the street when she ever stopped working on that damn place. She's working on the house now. Ross was, I said something to Ross, what was going on over there. And he said they were worse, worse. I don't know, somebody must have said something to somebody because they were saying more. I think they're trying to put the new stuff to the she told the state she was. There's cars in there.
Everything's
I was waiting for some whack one to go off the deep. You know, you never know. You know, it's girls, you know. She's, dealing with those type of people. I mean, not saying all alcoholics and drug addicts, but just, she come over and talk to me and stuff. I said, Susan, it ain't about you. It's about one person coming here, walking across the yard.
you know, some people feel that the safest place to live is right next door to the jail.
Yeah, there you go. No, but like I said, I got done, like I'm all ready, but you never, I gotta go try to make sure these damn doors are locked, because they're not locked up over there. They can walk right out of there and walk across the street in the middle of the night. That just worries me.
We'll get started in just a minute. Ross is working in the control room there to get everything running.
Technology.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully people know to come on over to this one to watch.
Watch. Is that supposed to be?
Yeah, because they're going over.
Not working?
Or they can't get it working?
I wonder.
Like,
This is like one of those.
yep, that's not working.
It was working before.
Just was he on?
It's after we used to know.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, before we get started tonight, Rich Erickson is not here tonight, so I will be chairing the meeting. We also are unable to connect on our Zoom meeting, so we apologize for that. So if you rise to do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will start out the meeting tonight with a call to the public. So if you would like to provide commentary on questions or issues that are on the agenda, now is the time to do that. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Kurt. This time is only for things that are on the agenda.
Well, normally that's the way the process is, and then at the end of the meeting, It's anything, you can talk about what was at the meeting. Since the agenda is one item tonight, we'll dispense with just about the agenda, okay?
If you don't mind, I'd
No.
like to.
If you wanna come on up.
I will. First of all, thank you for serving, all of you. At times thankless, but it's rewarding, because we're part of this community, and that's what we need, is community involvement. My comments tonight have been repeated in the past. There are certain properties in our township that are not really following what our ordinances are. And it has to do with unsightly pieces of property. I can cite a few of them. Denton Hill Road and White Lake Road on the east side. At the end of Carmer White Lake Road, there's a burned out house there, which really is kind of a disaster in a place that is a hazard. So I know that there's certain steps that we've gone through to deal with these kinds of things that are blight. They really are blight. However, the particular piece on Denton Hill, north of White Lake Road, has been going on for years. Now it's a perpetual yard sale and fencing, and it just keeps getting worse. What are we going to do about it? I think we really need to take this under consideration and deal with this, because as a planning commission, we can have a master plan, but if it's not being followed, then we're not, and ordinance is part of that following. Because as things come up when we develop a master plan, there's decisions that have to be made, and sometimes there's variations, and sometimes there's special land use things. So some of these things need to be looked at. I'm mentioning two places, but there's quite a few more. And over time, what happens is we ignore it, we kind of let it go, not intentionally, but it does happen. So unless we deal with them, then we'll start to see more of them. So I've been talking about a couple places for several years. I think it's time to do something forcefully. There's no more dispensation for illness. There's no more dispensation for whatever excuse that these residents make. How would you folks, or anybody here, or any of us like to live next to a couple of these places? I don't think we really would. I think if it was next door, you'd be right up here talking about it.
Exactly.
So we have a fairly big township, just like any other township, 36 square miles. So let's not be, if it only affects us, let's let it be that it's gonna affect this whole township. And some of these places are really on our township doorsteps. Aside from roads, this blight is really a problem. It's time we deal with it, and deal with it fast. Thank you.
I guess, and I will do a quick response to that. If you have a concern about an issue with the house where it burned out, or people running lawn sales or yard sales forever, the impetus is on us, and by us, I mean the individuals who live in the township, to file a complaint with Ross's.
Well, the place on Denton Hill has been in the courts for years. And all I've ever heard is, well, we've taken him to court, we don't throw him in jail, but he comes up with excuses. The place that burned down, that's a hazard. That's a hazard for children, that's a hazard for people, curiosity seekers. That needs to be dealt with. I don't care if they don't have insurance. The township, I believe, can do things to make that thing go away and mean the property. And the thing on Denton Hill, that's gotta be gone. The excuses are over with. I've brought it up for years. You can talk to Ross about my interest in that, you can talk to Mike, it's been going on for years.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, go ahead, you go ahead.
Scott Dietrich, White Lake Road. Thanks, Don. Don used to be my neighbor. Don and I were Don was very active with me when he was on the board. He's trying to control neighborhood problems, business is not run properly in residential areas. But he's right, there's a barn down off that road that's collapsing. Don's right, a couple kids walk in there, they're dead. I mean, you guys, you've drove by it, I know you've seen it. It's not that road, you just go down the south. And there's guys' property with those gondolas on it, with trailers without wheels. They're not supposed to have them. I've told Ross, I've been over here at the place over here that's trying to get approved for more storage. I mean, I remember when we did the master plan last time, that was a big no-no, those storage pods. I mean, a site in Township, especially when you come, our property values, man, I cannot believe the property values in this township. The only way you're gonna maintain them and keep the tax base the way it is to keep the place clean a little bit, I don't wanna go overboard, but to rest of you respectfully, you go by these places and I see the one place across the highway starting to clean up, with all the cars and stuff there, so thanks for doing that. All right, guys, I'm just frustrated as hell, and we'll get on to a different subject. I got my survey, I'm gonna turn it in, so if he's not coming tonight?
Well, he wasn't going to be here tonight, he was gonna be on the Zoom production,
Yeah.
but we didn't see him sign it.
That's another issue, this is getting tiring too, not having the Zooms. Thank God the net's taping, and hopefully it'll get out there. Survey, man, this thing's turning into a hell of a mess. I'm sorry, but other people have been trying to get on over the weekends today, and they're still not being able to get on.
Yeah, I understood.
It's terrible. I didn't even get a card. I got my survey, I came up here, I don't wanna turn it in here. And now that's got a duplicate copy of a page in there. It's drawn out lengthy. I don't know, guys, you're gonna take the survey and have the people out there, we've talked to a lot of people that wanted to take it, and they couldn't get through, or didn't get a card. Even a person on the board, I won't mention his name, he didn't even get a card. So who got my card? Who got his card? Somebody going in on my number and filling stuff out, I don't know, But this is stuff that we've been begging. Jeanette, we know the board hates Jeanette. They hate me because Rob spoke. Okay, I'm sorry, but we've been.
Well, I've been told.
There's been people that told her they don't like her. And they've told me the same thing. I don't care if people like me. I like all of you. Steve's an old friend of mine. Bill, he's done business up here. You guys are great guys. But we've got qualified people that can help with this survey. And I look at these questions on the survey, I don't like them. Do I live by a lake? No, I live by a lake. You didn't ask me if I live by a lake. There's questions there that, that just rambled on. I don't like the survey. And I know we're pressed for time. The biggest fraud was even after that little meltdown at the last meeting of the board, when the supervisor went off on his little tangent at the end. As important as this damn planning commission is on this master plan, you canceled the meeting again. Another meeting. We've been trying to get this thing going a long time. We just keep canceling meetings and you know what? All I hear from him is the law pertaining to what he can do to stop me from getting information and getting a timely manner of getting information. I'm not trying to beat up on anybody. We didn't get this posting until 5 something the other night for this meeting. I like to go through and read stuff. We're all busy too. It doesn't give us much time to read stuff either, or research. You guys, the man wanted to even take away our call to the public in the first couple. It just makes it worse. It's like that snowball's rolling down the hill.
and all the mistakes and all the problems, it just keeps bigger and bigger and bigger. And, like I said, we're not getting nothing done. And I know that me bitching about it is probably taking up a lot of time too, but you know what? I don't want to be your enemy. But I'm just saying, I'm tired of mistakes. And, you know, our supervisor sat there last week and told how qualified everybody was up there. And we're still getting mistakes. They voted themselves raises, they can do that, they didn't make any mistakes on raises and bonuses. Kurt, you're a board member. This has got to be disturbing to you, all the mistakes. There's a meeting coming up next couple weeks, and they got 2 different postings for one at 6 o'clock, one at 7 o'clock. You know, and you know, this is the worst part about it. Please, I don't want to be Pam's enemy. But you know, I talked to them on the last board meeting, and she specifically told me, not her responsibility.
Yeah. Me too.
She's the clerk. There's people's responsibilities under her to do these things, and she's responsible to overlook it. The woman told me it's not her job. Making how much a year? Maybe it's not the best. You know, if these people are that qualified, maybe they shouldn't have these jobs. Maybe they should go get a better one. But in the meantime, back in the past, we used to have farmers and people, regular people in the community do this stuff. They didn't get paid the big dollars. You did it for your community too. I mean, I want them to get paid. I want them to get paid well. But the mistakes and the misinformation and the not giving us, I mean, Mike loves that. I don't have to do this. This is my law. You know, he's done everything he could to get around everything. Bullshit. Sorry. Excuse my language, everybody. He works for us. Not just me, but you know what? How about a timely manner to get some information? I don't care what he has to do. We're asking. Give us a little time. I don't want to beat up on you. As you know, I want to sit down and have a beer with you and bullshit. You know, I don't want to screw around with stuff. But you know, we got to get this stuff done. And we're not getting it done. And the paperwork's not getting handled properly. And the survey's not getting handled properly. And I'd like to see more people be involved in it. I don't think we're going to get it because we've had too many mess ups with this thing.
Thank you.
Jeanette Lopetta, Fuller Drive. I also represent Tyrone Township, Watch. You know what, someone spoke earlier, didn't say his name, I think it's Don.
Don Pites, 10226.
Thank you, Don. Wondering why these ordinances and why people just do these things. Does anybody think it might be because they see us continually going around rezoning, ignoring certain things? I think the rezoning has a lot to do with it. I don't think they think you guys are serious. And when I filed a complaint, it was amazing to me how long it took sending it by slow mail and then sending another one and then and this guy clearly didn't have a permit to be doing what he was doing, which is dangerous. And then I was told, we can't just storm in there, Jeanette. But then we're told that we're supposed to be the eyes and ears and report things, but then it doesn't get done. So anyway, I don't really know where to begin. Please stop me when my time is up and I'll just continue later. It's one thing after another. I just want to remind you guys, and it's about the survey, so that actually is on the agenda with the master plan. The Michigan Planning Enabling Act says, make careful and comprehensive surveys and studies of present conditions and future growth. When this is part of legislation that says surveys are important, I don't appreciate being told several times, it's just a tool, don't worry about it, it's just a tool. No, it's very, very important. So I'm upset about how this survey has been handled. There's been many concerns, and I'm just going to bring up the latest one which came to my attention today when I tried to access my survey. And you may wonder why I've waited till last minute to do it. I'm going to wait till the last minute to do it. I want to see what other people are saying about the problems that they have with the survey so that I can go in there and look at things and continue on and do my survey at the last minute. So what I did was I logged on, I got the error message that said the survey is no longer available, please contact so-and-so. So I contacted the survey group, and I told her what happened. I tried from my laptop and I tried from my iPhone using the QR code. And she said, yeah, we turned it off, but we turned it on again. We just did that yesterday. it's turned back on. I said, well, I still can't access it. This is back and forth in emails with Zach being copied. And then she said, well, just go to the township's website and try that. And I said, okay, that works for me. But meanwhile, my postcard says a QR code that I can access it. Now, if I didn't know to talk to her or get the information from her that I can go to the township's website, how would I know? So my concern is several people may have already tried and they've given up because they don't get access. And I'm not so sure that that was just turned on yesterday, and I'd like to find out when that was turned on, because we've had several people report that they've been getting that same message for a while now. So it's not representative of the people when the people can't do their survey. The other thing is, why are we having Zach writing up the master plan, revising it, when we don't even have the results of the survey in yet to know what the people want? That makes no sense to me. The survey comes first, then you look at it, and then you start making changes, in my opinion. So I did ask Zach in this email thread if he could provide us some insight in how, and I would like you guys to consider this, in extending the time that the survey is allowed for people to respond. And that it be communicated in whatever way you need to do, whether it's emails, maybe a postcard again. But this is important that people know that they can get on there and do the survey. So I really hope that we can get an extension to the survey date and let people participate as it's meant to be. Same with Scott, I'm really disappointed in the questions. You know, it's a lot of run around, and it's like, why not just come right out and ask the question rather than beating around the bush? And then one example, do you live near a lake? Like, why not on a lake? I know that surveys are written to get certain answers. I don't like the way it's written, but that's me. Okay, and then the other one that Scott spoke about, did you guys know that your public hearing that got canceled and pushed to August 17th is scheduled here the same night that your visioning session is scheduled?
Yep.
Well, you know it, John, because you talked to me on Facebook.
That was the intention.
You're gonna have a visioning session with the community coming in and a public hearing?
We've got 2 different times, Steve, 6 and 7 o'clock.
And the same
Like
day.
2 different
The
meetings.
17th meeting, second meeting is always at 6.
Yeah,
And
it's
we
confusing.
talked
The
about
public hearings always start 30 minutes into the meeting.
But why would we have the community coming in for a visioning
That's what
session
they said.
based on the master plan, that it's not important enough to set it separate than a public hearing? That makes no sense to me at all. Maybe I'm alone in that. Why
It is
would we do
confusing.
that?
You got 2 different things.
I understand it's 2 different things, but, okay, go ahead.
So the visioning sessions that are scheduled, that are published right now, are scheduled on the basis of, we anticipated having the survey results back sooner. Without having the survey results, we still wanted to try to have a visioning session, but there's always a potential that we'll add an additional visioning session to make up for not having that data available.
My question is, why is a visioning session where you bring the community together, people who maybe have never even been to the township hall before, have them sit through a public hearing at the same time?
Yeah.
The visioning session's at 7, right? Or is that at 6?
I think it's the 6 day.
They overlap, the meetings overlap. Who scheduled this?
I guess my question would be either Ross or Zach would be, is a visiting session an agenda item on a meeting? Or is it separate?
It could be treated in different ways. Technically,
It's not.
It's
It- it-
confusing.
But it hasn't
It's
been, in
confusing,
the way you
Ross.
guys set it up. You set up these specific visioning
we
sessions.
set it up the one way with these dates, anticipating that we would have the data available to hold a productive discussion.
I understand that.
Unfortunately, we don't have the data available.
That's not my beef. My beef is, why are you having a community visioning session mixed in with a public hearing for something else? The master plan is important enough. We were considering having, you guys were considering having the visioning session. You guys were considering having the visioning sessions at churches, at different places. you would never have a public hearing there also.
No, you could.
Exactly. So we were under the impression that visioning sessions are important, that they are a specific
Can you turn that down?
thing.
I have no idea what that is.
That's your bad, that's feedback.
Yeah, you get feedback.
People's phones, maybe.
Are you on Zoom?
I think someone's on Zoom.
Well, I can turn off Zoom because it's not working. Maybe
But
that'll-
the-
I just had a wire. I had my phones off.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe
we'll
the church
turn it
pushed
down.
out number two, and that's something to do, because if you have
Steve was asking the agenda item for next week to make a public hearing, what was that for?
That's for increasing accessory size.
So, yes,
which was canceled previously and bumped to the 17th.
It was bumped back because of a publication error,
Okay.
so it needed to be rescheduled. So typically when that happens, they try to reschedule to the soonest available meeting or workshop, as long as the quorum can be verified.
And I would assume a visioning session is not a meeting, not a workshop. It's a visioning session that should be dedicated to the public. We've been waiting a long time for these opportunities, so I hope you guys can straighten this out. And I want you to know it looks real messy out there. Whoever did the scheduling for it, it actually makes the planning commission look bad, because it's planning commission having a public hearing, saying it starts at this time, and then saying that there's also a visioning session starting at this time, and people are like, what? What's going on? So, it would be nice to, I request that we get a separate day for visioning sessions, so that it not be, lumped up in with something else. And, I guess that's it. So, and also if you guys could please, think of a way to extend the, survey to allow people, apparently it's not important enough to wait on writing the master plan, so I think we should get everybody's opinions, and surveys should be allowed to, participate and extend that deadline, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Sure,
Anything else? Anybody else?
John Fialcott, 10-4 Lake, or 10-485 Lakeshore Drive. I live in Running Lake Heights, and you guys approved paving of the inlet to the road there, and it's working great. And the question I have is, you're asking, it's a private road, so we don't understand this whole why you're asking for some.
It's what the township board requested.
Yeah, and we don't understand it, so can you explain why? I mean, it's a private
I
road.
would need to take that up.
What are
with the
they
township
asking
board.
They,
For verification of if something were to happen, that they'd be able to cover any liability.
I mean, it's a private road. If there's some lawsuit, they're gonna sue us, so they want some sort of.
It's just what the attorney recommended and what the township board.
I know, but, I'm saying why?
Have you asked the township board?
No,
We're the planning commission, we have nothing to do with it.
okay.
The planning commission didn't place that on there. I don't know.
I just don't understand, it's a private road. If somebody's gonna sue, they're gonna sue either, the resident.
I'm not an attorney, I'm not qualified to explain that.
Yeah, okay.
So if you contact us tomorrow, we'd be happy to direct you to someone who can answer the question.
Okay. Well, I mean, you keep asking us to, do something, right?
Which is my job. I'm given direction and I'm
Okay,
asked to follow up on it.
okay. So, but you can't answer why, so I have to talk to somebody else.
Yep, you can talk to the officers.
Who,
You can try the supervisor, Mike Cunningham.
okay. And then, so you were supposed to provide, we gave you $1,500 as a deposit for.
No, that was escrow, which is
Escrow.
required for any application, which is required for planning commission, or planner review fees, engineer review fees, and or legal fees.
Yeah, so a blank bill for engineering services and I asked for a breakdown, I wonder, are you gonna?
That would be something you would talk to our accountant about.
I know, but I talked to you and you said you would get that, and you didn't.
Once we receive the charges from the attorney.
No, I asked on the engineering fees.
I provided you everything that was provided to me.
It's just a bill, it doesn't say anything like itemized what it's for.
Okay, if you
And
would,
yet, when I talked to you, you said you would provide a detail, you would talk to the accountant and provide me some details back in.
I would provide you any details that they have. And, you know, maybe they have something additional, but that's what I was provided with. And that's what I sent you.
You just sent me a number, that's it. You didn't like say like they were here for an hour, you didn't say they paid for gas, you didn't say anything.
I don't get the invoices. I am not the accountant. I can't do every function of the.
Right, I know, but
on my own.
I understand that, but I
I
asked,
don't know about billing.
okay, but I asked for it and you said you would get back to me and provide that detail. And it's been weeks. So, I mean, I'm just asking for it.
Okay. Well, I'm doing everything that I can, but unfortunately, like I said, I can't perform every single function. I'm doing the best that I can.
And we did, by the way, grant you guys a pretty generous variance to pave that road the way you did because of basically because of the constraints of the subdivision when it was originally platted and how narrow the
Right.
allowed amount of space was in that. So
Right.
I think we were pretty decent to your homeowners community there, providing you guys with the ability to pay that, which I wrote down before and after, and it is quite a nice.
It's
Quite a nice.
It was also paid
It's-
before the conditions were fulfilled, which
Yeah.
is also a huge, huge convenience to you.
Yes.
So I'm not saying where you don't appreciate, you
No,
know,
but I'm saying
but
that
I
we
think
did
in the
that.
end, it was a safety concern for the community, for a
Right.
private road. And it's worked out for the best for our private, you know, subdivision.
And we
So I think it's a
didn't,
good
as a
thing.
planning commission, we didn't put any legal restrictions on what we approved. Everything else you're bringing up to us today is news to me. And, you know, I would suggest personally that you come before the board, maybe Kurt would know more about this, but as far as everything else, we don't go to the board meetings, so I have no idea what happened there. But that would be, what I would recommend, if I was in your position, I'd come to the board and get those questions answered.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any further advice or?
I can't tell you what the attorney said on that, because I don't know right off the top of my head.
Because what I don't understand is if the roads were platted in whatever, 1932, and it was way before any ordinances were, you know, applied to that road, how, you know, why are they, you know, imposed now?
It's only because you chose to pave the road. You asked us to pave the road, so that was in accordance with the ordinance. Did you read that?
You can keep doing upkeep and maintenance for
Yeah.
ever.
If you want to
It's
pave
just
the
a pave.
unconforming private drive, if you want to pave it, then you gotta follow these ordinances, which is the Livingston County Road Commission standards. Did you guys want to follow that?
Well, I mean,
You could have, you can do that. You can take right away, you cut the trees down, you could cut down, cut the road out, but you didn't want to do that, right?
why? It wasn't even feasible, right?
I don't think it would have been.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
you give up property, you cut the trees down, you could have widened it to meet that right away.
yeah, okay.
Could have been done.
Well, okay, I appreciate.
So we gave you
know,
an approval to not meet that, to meet the standards that your community requested.
Yeah.
We approved it.
Okay, well, I mean, I appreciate it, I'm not clear on a private road why, you know, they want some, you know, indemnification.
Were you talking about a hold harmless?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay. I mean, that's a standard process.
When we made our motion, I remember that we had that in the motion that the township would not be liable. That was in what we recommended to the board. Now, maybe the board
recommended
attorney
that.
comes up with something and wants it more, you know, memorialized, formalized, whatever, you know, however you want to do that. My suggestion is come to the board.
Okay. All right, and then just in regard to the survey, you know, we tried to do it online, on the phone, didn't work, so.
I got two at my house, cause I have 2 pieces of property, and my wife did one, and I did one, we had no problems. I don't know why all some of these problems popped up, but we did them when we got them.
I had no issue,
I didn't have any
there were a few
problems.
issues, they went through troubleshooting and they were resolved.
So Russ, is the survey still on yet?
Yep, it's live right now.
Okay.
You can go on, you can fill it out, you can
And
see
you
it.
can get to it through
I got the
the
Township
township website.
Right on the home.
But not necessarily your QR codes, I can't,
Okay.
so.
I don't know how that works.
Seeing as Zoom is not working, I've got a comment from someone on, that would have made it on Zoom. And it's some, can I make that comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, okay. It's from Sarah Dahlman, Jersey. And she said, visioning also needs to be on a variety of times and days, not only Wednesdays.
We'll let Zach speak to that.
Yeah, we had to say, I know Zach said, in Argentine Township, they didn't even do a visioning session.
We're not Argentine,
I
we're,
understand,
yeah,
but, you know,
yeah.
I don't know where she's, apparently if Argentine Township did not do, any visioning sessions, then I doubt if it's a requirement of the state for planning.
It probably isn't, but we're asking you guys as our representatives. And I can tell you that Wednesday nights is a big church night for a lot of people that will not come to a visioning session on Wednesday night. And it could be a regular night for other people for other things, so.
Any more comments? Okay, we'll close call to the public. I'd like to request approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda and support. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes. Okay, we'll jump to approval of the meeting minutes. So if you would pull out your copy of the meeting minutes from June 14th of this year.
Can you display them on the screen? Or-
Excuse me?
Can you display them on the screen?
Yeah, I think we can.
Thank you.
I have one comment, line 22, motion carried by unanimous, and I'll get it spelled.
No.
That's the only comment I have.
Yeah, that's spelling error, I believe. Okay, anything else on page 1? Page 2? Move to page 3. Page 4.
That's the wrong name. Line 141.
Line 141.
I don't think that was Kirk Kennedy, was it? sure that's not who it is?
Okay, if we can go back and check that.
He lives directly across the street. Marjorie Kennedy lives directly across the street.
Okay, perhaps it is. I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, cause I went to school with Kurt Kennedy, or Kent rather.
I mean, I remember
Kurt Kennedy, I believe,
that,
was the son of Marjorie Kennedy.
Yeah,
who
they
lived
had some
directly
brothers.
across the street
Yeah.
at that property.
It was Kent.
on Foster.
So is there a correction there?
I believe it's do you think it's somebody else?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
He did speak
misspoke.
about
I
his
thought it
mother.
was someone else, but I'm sorry. I don't have, we only got these last night, so I didn't have time to go over it.
If there is an error that's found, they can always be amended at a later date.
Okay.
if they-
Yeah,
Thank
because these, recognize these meeting minutes, once we approve them, still have to go to the board,
Okay,
so they can be corrected yet. We'll verify that. Moving on to page 5. And to page 6. And to page 7. Page 8. Page 9.
one general comment, Russ, is do we usually have it say board comments?
No,
All right,
Carrie put these together.
okay.
It's just a minor style variation.
What should it say, planning commission comments?
Well, it can say board. Technically, the planning commission is a,
Okay, then it's fine,
it's proper, it's just a different style.
All right.
Page 10. Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended on line 22 for the time being.
move to approve.
Support, anybody?
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting minutes are approved. Full business, the master plan. Well, we do have the unfortunate circumstance that Zach isn't with us here to really update us on the master plan. We've also heard discussions so far about access to the survey and the questions regarding the appropriate dates for visioning sessions. Has Zach provided us with, well, I guess he has, with the dates for all of the visioning
that are published that are still tentative, I mean, we can reschedule the next one if need be. There's no reason we can't, especially if we're going to extend the survey deadline. That's what's holding up the visioning sessions, not having data available.
Okay, I'm just gonna offer my opinion on this, but to me, having a visioning session without having survey data is, I'm not sure there's gonna be a whole lot of useful information spread around, except possibly an introduction to the master planning process itself.
I don't think it's completely wasted, especially if we're doing full vision sessions. I'm okay with waiting, but is there a certain topic for each visioning session?
There's supposed to be, we gave them 4 potential, areas that they were to, take a look at for the visioning sessions. And then they came back, I think, with a schedule of 3 visioning sessions.
I think the reality is we tried to put a timeline together the best as possible based on when we anticipated things would happen. I think it would be best if we have the data, because the benefit of having the data is that's how we formulate what the most important topics for visioning discussion are. So without that, it's kind of a shot in the dark, guessing. You know, obviously, putting the timeline together, it's a coordinated effort between the township and our planning consultant, and, you know, we try to shoot for, you know, the most optimistic timeline while being as conservative as possible. Sometimes they don't line up, and sometimes we need to reschedule.
Right.
those.
I mean, I hate to get into changing the timelines without Rich's input on this, since he is the chairman of this, and this is his project. But on the other hand, we are short of having the data. And also, I suspect, if we're going to have 4 visioning sessions or 3, we need to be able to address that. The other thing was, I think a question was raised in regards to why we would be drafting portions of the plan. And I believe in a previous session on that, we asked Zach to go ahead and start drafting the parts of the plan where there were no changes.
Well, yeah, right now it's all mostly introductory overview, explaining what a master plan is,
Right.
explaining.
And a lot of the maps and stuff that aren't really, more the facts.
And how they do
That's what we
this,
have
this
on
is
that.
And you've
data.
even got blanks in there where the survey data is gonna come in.
Right.
And I think just update some of the general line work is fine to do, especially trying to keep this thing moving along.
Right.
He's still trying to use the framework that we have in place with our existing master plan as close as possible.
I think it's all draft, and right now we're on V2, maybe we might have a V3 or V4, whatever it takes. So they're not set in stone because we just did that one.
Right.
You know, we get unit from the survey, but you know, at least we get going and looking at it.
I think we've got it out there that we're gonna have a visioning session next Wednesday, that we should stick to that, because people might be planning on showing up. And let's just, you know.
We're having a meeting regardless, we can at least have a discussion and an update if there
Yeah.
are any changes.
We have
See what input we get from the.
We have a meeting. I guess the question is appropriate as to whether it should be a visioning session or an introduction to the process, or whatever you want to call it, I guess.
That's something we need to work out between now and
I
then.
guess, what do we, explain to me, I know Zach's not here, but I'm just thinking, I would like to know how that visioning session is working. Like, how is it different from meeting? We show up, we're here, or how is it gonna work?
Well, the idea, again, conceptually, from what I got from talking to Zach, was that they would do a presentation, they being our line of work, whether it's Zach himself or whether it's a partner that comes with him to help the process on. And that individual would lead the discussion on the various items that we would discuss that are appropriate for that particular visioning session, whether it was commercial, or whether it was housing, or whether it was whatever the 4 were that we came up with. And to tell you the truth, I can't remember what they
and I think we need to have it advertised better to say, this visiting session is on this topic. Because some people might be only interested in, you know, I mean, I don't know what they are, but there's like,
Well, I know that I heard, I think it was Osceola, Township, was having a visioning session. They actually announced it on the radio, that the visioning session was gonna be held at such and such a place at such and such a time. I know that public, the WHMI will do public radio spots if we wanna get that information out there. It is tremendously short notice here to do it for next Wednesday, considering this is already Tuesday on the week before. So I can see both issues. One, that you've already announced something, so you wanna try to follow through with that. But,
could we just have it, because now it's a regular meeting.
right,
We have it as a regular meeting and add an agenda item to discuss the visioning sessions. And like, at least we can maybe go through the introduction of it and, because I don't think we want to, if we're only doing 4 visioning sessions with Carlisle Ormond, we might not want to waste one yet, you know? I kind of, you know, that comes with the bill too, right?
yeah, that comes with the bill. There's,
So if we're in with 4, then I think we just discuss it.
I think the quote that we asked for, when they provided us, this is how much we would be spending on this, included 4 visioning sessions. That was
So,
the price tag on that.
so it's easy for me to say, let's add another, but I don't approve bills either.
Yeah.
Well, we could do it, sort of, talk about it informally,
Yeah.
and not have a formal visioning session, where people have comments during the call to the public, they can certainly bring it up, those things.
And I don't know what the format is. I would like to hear Zach go over what the format of the visioning session is, because I don't know what that is. And I think we need to come up with a forum and a method to have a discussion with the public rather than just a comment period.
Yeah, and frankly, there is an issue with having a public meeting at the same time we're doing a visioning session. I know it can be done, but to me, that's maybe distraction. And
Yep.
whether that needs to be run that way, I'm not sure. And I'm saying this out of order here because I don't know for sure what Rich's take is on this. And he's the one who's chairing this. So it's difficult for me to sit here and say, well, I think we should do this, that, or the other thing, because that's technically not my place to do that. But I also know that as we move forward through the process of visioning plans, our workshop meetings, if we're going to dedicate them to the visioning session, means that we're certainly not going to carry a regular workload through a workshop process either.
Well, it certainly seems like that's what the crux of our work is going forward.
Yeah,
It takes 4
we've
meetings.
been doing
Yeah.
Wednesday workshops on master plan only.
Right.
So if we have a visioning session, I think we can
Right.
maybe not go through the drafts like we have, but, you know, like,
Yeah, but if we're gonna include other topics in there,
Tyrone Township.
and, you know, again, the workshop sessions are particularly helpful when it comes to trying to grind through some of the processes that we need to do. For example, one of the items that, come to mind is the sign ordinance. As we go into the, election season here, we have an ordinance that needs to be brought up to date and in compliance with Supreme Court issues. And we've been waiting 3 years to do that. We got,
who are we waiting for? Or what are we waiting on?
Well, 3 is
Kyle Workman gave us a draft?
No, that was what happened.
Yeah.
That was before.
I'd rather stick to the plan, to the master plan until we kind of get it done, because this has been dragging out, and I think to try to put other stuff in there, if it's gonna slow that process down, that would not be my preference. My
I guess it
preference is
depends
to
on-
stick to the master plan and try to get this thing moved along here.
Depends on what Zach's workload looks like really, because if he's gonna be taking over that monster of a sign ordinance that's a working draft right now, I mean, he may have enough time and it would be built separately from the master plan. So,
Right, but, I mean,
it all depends.
that's,
We
and,
could have it on a regular planning commission agenda.
Yeah,
we can
Not
have
do
that.
a big
I think we should start having that on there. I didn't know it was so urgent to get it done before election.
yeah, well, and that, there have been several other issues too, sightlines comes up, but I know the sign ordinance is one that it's very tough to enforce. A sign ordinance that doesn't pass, muster with what the Supreme Court rules.
We need a public hearing for that.
Right, we need that,
Exactly.
I don't know about these rulings or.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen by November. Not if we have to have a public hearing, we haven't even started this, so we haven't started even until September, and then you have to still schedule it.
Yeah, well, it's things that are gonna come up. And see, the whole process is here, if you devote the workshop meetings to, master plan, then you're not going to be able to do the nitty gritty work that needs to get done in the workshop sessions to grind out the issues for the sign ordinance and the sightlines and whatever all else you want to call it.
So move the visioning sessions off of Wednesday, keep a Wednesday workshop. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that's something that maybe you could consider. I will say Jeanette brought up a good issue with the fact that people go to churches on Wednesdays. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't think that one, but.
there are a number of churches in Tyrone Township who have Wednesday night services. So that would even eliminate using anything other than the township hall here for the purposes of having a
Just do it for
vision
meeting
session,
days.
because those churches tend to be used on Wednesday nights. So, I mean, all I'm doing is throwing a lot of issues out there, and I apologize for that because I really don't have it's not my place to be putting those out there, but it's something we need to think about as a,
It needs to be discussed, because
Yeah.
right now we're at a little bit of a delay just due to the survey results now.
right.
When do you think that'll be done?
Well, it depends, I mean, if we cut it off Wednesday, then it's possible to have the data put together by next week, the following week, potentially.
Gotta let people participate.
It has been active for over a month.
Are we gonna?
It's been out.
Oh,
When does it?
It doesn't matter.
When is it set to close?
Tomorrow.
The 10th.
Tomorrow. Are we gonna need to make a determination tonight to extend it? or-
That's gonna be, I think, up to the officers, but I can bring a recommendation.
Okay, yeah, that would be up to the township officers, but the question is, we could make a recommendation on that to extend it, and then if you're extending it, there are costs involved, so you have to recognize that.
They make that decision.
Well, what cost? Just something that's updating the website?
Somebody who's doing work.
I don't know, what's about, there may not be.
Yeah, it may
Just
be,
turn it back on.
yeah, it may be insignificant.
If there's an issue with it, I think we should leave it open for
How long are we?
at least another week. How about another week?
And communicate it to the people.
Yeah, could you put it on the township website, Ron?
I will pass the message along.
And an email.
The email that you send out to everybody, the last one, you should send it out, say, hey, get your survey done, you've got till
Are we trying to say the
17th. Yeah, keep it open till the 17th. Put it on the township website, so you can know that.
Primaries was only about 20.
And put on there to not be extended again, so that people will.
I'll run it by the officers. and-
Right, that's a recommendation.
I can make the
I
call.
don't know if we need to vote on that, but I support that.
Hey, Ron, Ross, you should put on there, make sure you, if you can't do nothing online, come get a hard copy.
Okay.
Well,
We've been giving out a lot.
I know,
Doesn't
I
just
know.
vote on it, so, are you,
So they give out-
the motion on the floor is to extend,
We don't need a motion.
you sure we don't?
Not for that, not for that master plan procedure, no.
Okay, we'll simply agree that, unless you guys.
Because you're not making an official call or an official recommendation.
So that would leave the question about
Once it completes.
a visioning session for next Wednesday.
Yep, and that's something that doesn't need to be officially decided tonight, well, can't be officially decided tonight, because the master planning is a coordinated effort between the township officials, which includes all the board.
That's true.
I think we decided, do not want to make it a.
We can suggest, we can suggest that we just have it as an agenda item where we discuss
Yeah.
the visioning session going
Yeah,
forward.
exactly.
That's what the consensus is.
That's what I like.
Then that way also we could have the public meeting without,
Visiting session being interrupted.
yeah, without the visioning session being interrupted.
So the regular meeting will start at 6, public hearing at 6:30 still? And then can you have, Zach update the website,
Regarding the deadline?
just the date of the, workshop, what's right here on the
Oh,
screen?
yeah, I'll talk to them about that.
Is Zach gonna be here next week?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, because getting into visioning sessions, I think that needs to be pointed out to Carlisle Workman, they must be here.
Exactly.
I can't emphasize that enough, because
Yes.
they're.
Oh, I know that they were gonna be here next
Yeah,
Wednesday if everything worked, if the stars aligned.
Zach, that's what Zach said, is that he was gonna bring one of the partners or one of the higher.
yeah, there was somebody else who was going to help do the.
I don't know what this noise is.
We have a lot of PA systems, we just turn it off.
We don't have microphones in here, we don't have video. The microphones are
Thousands of
The video's
dollars
not
we've
working
spent.
anyway. Oh, are you
Oh,
taping?
it still records to
Okay,
YouTube,
all
it's
right.
live streaming, yeah.
Gotcha.
Look at this, we've solved 2 problems today.
Yeah.
Way to go, guys. Good job.
Any more discussion on the master plan?
I mean, do we want to go through what he says?
No.
I think that would be a bit of a waste of
Without
time.
being right here live, yeah.
I'll leave it to you guys.
No, I mean, I glance through them and I'll continue to glance through them for the next meeting, but.
I think most of what he wrote there, or was bringing up, other than the new data that he had, from census, was, fairly boilerplate stuff. But if you wanna go through that,
No, we've already seen a lot of them.
These are all updates to existing documents that we previously reviewed, we basically made changes based on the comments and additional data.
I would certainly like to rather get the survey results back. I think that's the real key to moving forward.
right, because
Purposefully.
yeah, without having all the data available, it's tough to discuss what people's take on issues that we have dealing with is.
Absolutely.
Okay, then we'll move on to new business, which we don't have any of. So we'll move on to call to the public. This is the last call to the public.
I have another one from Sarah Dolman, Jersey.
Okay.
Okay. Sarah asked me to make this comment. She said the suggestion to host visioning on days other than Wednesdays was not a legal reference. Given that the master plan is the only document that reflects the vision of the people for the future of our community, I would think the Planning Commission's top priority would be reaching out to the people in any possible way they can. To suggest that visioning isn't required is disappointing. Why are we not focused on reaching the people? connecting with them, and fully understanding their vision in this endeavor. A coordinated outreach that affords opportunities for residents to engage in different ways on different days at different times promotes genuine engagement. That is the ethical way to do this important job well. Please consider a more coordinated effort to reach the people and inform them as to when and how to engage.
That's basically what we just talked about.
Yeah, you can tell her that we
She's
apologize
listening.
for not being able to use the Zoom process to welcome people from online into this. That's unfortunate. We'll try to.
Yeah, I think she was talking more about the visioning though, not the commenting tonight. Yeah. When it was said, maybe we wouldn't even have them.
Karen Morgan, Heartland Road. This is my first meeting, so thank you, gentlemen, for all of the time and effort that you put in. I know can be daunting. The meeting, I guess I'm not familiar with the two different types of meetings that are overlapping. Am I correct in understanding the visioning and the board meeting at 6 and 7?
Well, the planning commission itself meets on the second Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock. Normally, any public meeting is also part of that meeting. So the regular meeting is suspended, public hearing is held for whatever the issue is, and then we move back to a regular meeting. On occasions, on the second Wednesday of the month, or the third Wednesday of the month, we hold our workshop meeting, which starts at 6 o'clock. And sometimes when we have work that wasn't completed during the regular planning commission meeting, it spills over into that workshop meeting.
Okay.
And so, as long as we have a quorum available, we can conduct business such as a public hearing. So on occasion, that happens. It's not regularly scheduled that way. So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all. I appreciate your clarity there. So, are you hoping to have residents attend both meetings, or are they both held here in this location?
See how confusing it is.
Where the visioning, where you're doing,
It's gonna be all with us. I think the plan was for it to be here.
okay, so it's just continual, am I correct in understanding that?
Yes,
Okay.
and the way this is shaking out as of what we just discussed here, we will probably just have an agenda item of the master plan rather than a visioning session, and then have a public hearing for the
application.
at the workshop meeting.
Okay, and so then I guess my next question is the purpose of the visioning session. What is its purpose?
Well, the purpose of the visioning session is to provide input from the community to the planning commission and to our consultants in drafting the master plan.
So is that incorporated even after our survey deadline has been complete?
Yes.
The intention is that we will use the survey data as a tool to provide those people who don't come to the visioning sessions their input into the questions that the master plan creates.
So, if the deadline passes, tomorrow is supposed to be the deadline, my husband was frantically looking at it tonight, and, so we're extending it, from my understanding here. If even people have not gotten to that point of extension to get their survey in, they can plan a visioning, they can attend a visioning
Yes.
session to have their views incorporated into the plan. So.
Yeah, the survey is gonna give us direction of kind of where the community wants us to go, but then in a visioning session, people can come in there and verbally.
So it's a working document, Zach is gonna continue tweaking it until it's incorporated.
Right, people can come to the visiting sessions and tell us how they want to see the township move forward, basically.
Okay, so there won't really be
public hearings for the master plan before we adopt it. And meetings probably after vision sessions.
And
We'll probably talk about the master plan at every meeting for the rest of the year, right?
Probably.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm not saying every single one, but so far we have. I don't think we've had a meeting in.
It will be a permanent agenda item in essence, at least through the end of the year.
So that's another way to provide feedback, provide your comments, is come to the meetings and just like you're doing now.
Okay, so, and then there's a cost to having those meetings with the Carlisle company,
Yeah, they charge money.
so,
It's part of the overall fee for the developing of a master
right, but
plan.
that includes only 4.
We can have more if we want, but there'd be an additional.
An
cost.
additional cost to us,
Yeah.
yeah, so we don't really,
Yeah.
I mean, if we can, if we schedule them, I guess my, being fiscally responsible, if we're gonna have them with them here, I was hoping to meet them tonight, if we can have the objectives of each of the planning sessions or the vision sessions, so residents would know what to come with, and they would know, Zach would know what we're trying to accomplish, so that would be clear before,
We're gonna develop that and tighten that up at the next Wednesday's meeting.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and have that laid out. And I would also comment that the master plan is an important enough document, extremely important document for the township going forward, that if we gotta pay for an extra meeting, I don't think anyone at the board or the planning commission would have any problem at all with that. Because the master plan is a required document, and it is also a very important document because it does also, if we get sued for denying rezoning or something like that, it also forms a basis for our
right,
defense.
so long-term commitment that we're making as residents.
10 years.
Now,
Okay.
one of the things that, and I'm gonna make another comment here, I'm sorry. That we don't really have a feel for yet is, this room holds 60 people at the most. I don't know how many people will show up for a visioning session. If I have 600, obviously we don't have any room for that. So I don't know how to plan for that. And obviously I don't wanna have people say, well, I need a reservation to get in. But using the township hall, does have a limit on capacity. Obviously you can hold it outside here, but that is dependent on weather, and it's also dependent on, how well we could set up something for people to participate in. So, nobody has even mentioned that issue yet, because I really don't know where we're at.
The capacity of the Zoom meeting when we had the asphalt plant, we were definitely.
We were just raising 100.
Yeah, we were.
But there was a couple times.
We went over 100.
People
Yeah,
couldn't get on it, yeah.
But that was right around 100, I don't.
Yeah.
But, that was also a call from your home.
Because that.
I bet you Zach would have a pretty good idea how many, based on how many people come here and what the
Right.
township size is. I bet you would have a pretty good estimation.
I mean, he can probably give us a guesstimate, but.
We don't want to cut it close.
Again, I don't know, I mean, we might be special, and nobody shows up.
How
We
many-
might be special,
how
and
many-
everybody shows up.
I don't know the capacity.
How far do you let us know? I mean, how far up the board can we?
I don't know.
Reach you? Like, would we be able to set up chairs up in the front, and we wouldn't be able to see your faces, but.
I don't even know if we
I don't even know if they have enough chairs here to.
There's not chairs, I mean, they can,
Scrubbed from the.
you can fit probably double the capacity of chairs that's currently set up.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the elections that we.
but, comfortably speaking, you're talking about 60 people here is.
But one thing I'd like to see at the visioning sessions is a 3-minute time. Because if we got 60 or 70 people on the talk,
Talking sessions last night.
I think that.
We didn't have that.
That would be
Neither were.
It depends, I mean, I guess you'd have to see how it goes.
See how it goes.
Well, I think we said an overall time limit.
It
says 60.
I don't think you can.
Oh, I'm not saying they have to accept that.
I just would feel that if
Goes when they show up.
then they want to speak and they have a chance to talk to maybe some people who are, attention to stuff.
Anyone else?
Yep.
You get your turn.
Oh, I just raised my hand.
Lights from the road.
Dawn?
Dawn. Aside from having a resident have to record this meeting, let's fix the system.
I'll always record,
And
whether it's
now-
fixed or not.
However, having comments come through you, to the board, to the public, may not be appropriate. Because it may not be enough of a wider net that the public could have. So we've scheduled some Zoom meetings, we've tried to get that done. The technology is there, folks. It shouldn't be up to Ross, it shouldn't be up to you guys. It really should be a given. Encourage the board of directors to get this thing straightened out, please. When did the master plan process start? 6 months ago? Maybe
No
more.
longer than that.
9?
We got tied into COVID, so we started
Just-
just about the
just
time. COVID
really-
hit.
Let's not bring that up anymore. Forget that stuff. It is a requirement of every township to do this. And I think it's a 5-year thing, not 10-year.
Yeah.
No, it's 10.
It's
You
five.
look at it after 5, I believe.
Okay.
Review it.
So it's a requirement that we have to do. And it's a needed requirement, especially when things are growing. And we've grown. So in all the discussion about visioneering and this and that, we put out a survey. The data is important. It is our duty to try and get as many surveys back. Do you realize what the general percentages of surveys coming back on any time you send them out? Could be 10 to 30%. Generally, the middle's about 20.
We got 13% when we set one out for the, whatever that survey
Now,
was.
wait a minute. Let's not bother trying to push this out. Let's not bother trying to phone every resident, return your survey in. Look, it's been published, it's been sent. Let's not make excuses for residents that don't have the right equipment or don't want to bother to fix their problems with their internet or their web browsers.
That's not the
I've
problem.
had them too. I've got it. We're not gonna fix that stuff. So, the survey data is important. Got it. Do whatever we can, finish that up, then let's go to the meetings, okay? Because that is important too. I remember when we had certain meetings to try and get police and fire protection here. It took us a few months, we had to make different meetings, we had a lot of resident participation, then we got an assessment, not a millage. Because fire service is important to anybody, no matter the value of their house or the number of people in their house. So the survey is important. Let's get that done, finish it up, give it a date, and get on with it. The sessions that we want to have and that are needed, if they're published, that's great. Bring people in. I don't care if it's 60, 600, we'll accommodate it somehow. All right? So continue with the publicly stated sessions that we have. That's my recommendation. But be ready to record the data and have that on a type of a systematic system so that we can record. It doesn't have to be with this. It has to be like a secretary to say, all right, shorthand, all right? How many comments were made about this? But be ready for that, because it's important. Because the public that we're going to ask in the survey, in the visionary assessment, we have to be ready to take comments and questions. All right? So it's important, but you need to have some rules of order when these things go on. You don't want it to get out of control, because you want to hear everybody. Because it's difficult for some people to speak in public. So encourage it. So be ready to accept the data, be ready to record the data, and encourage participation. But move on, you've got a schedule, don't stop it. Let's go. It's been long enough, okay? So, as far as I heard Zach talk, is he with Carlisle?
Yes.
What does he have anything to do with our website?
It's a website specifically for the master plan.
This one that's up on
That's
the.
generated.
Carlisle?
It's his website.
Carlisle's put that together?
Correct.
Yeah, he runs
So that's a separate website from what we have here?
Correct.
it, yes.
Okay, all right, so that's part of his their
That's part of the contract.
compensation? So they presented a package, wasn't at that meeting, okay, thank you. But move forward, go with your schedule, get the participation, but be ready to record the data so that we can get a thorough master plan done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeanette Lopetta, Fuller Drive. I just want to say about the comment that people should get their equipment fixed. Okay, I don't think Dawn was here to know the problems that we've had and to suggest that this is the residents' fault, and for anybody listening into the recording, that's wrong. It's not, and even if it was, we need to make this accessible for all residents, so I'd just like to push back on that. First of all, I want to say whoever does the minutes for these meetings, thank you, and I think it might be, do you do them sometimes?
I do most of them sometimes.
You
Gary
do,
does.
yeah, and you do a great job, they're detailed, and I do appreciate you doing that. I also want to say, this is not Zach's fault regarding Zoom. This is unbelievable that it's put on Zach. We spent thousands of dollars last year that the township approved to update our video recording equipment. I called and asked why we weren't able to use it for those several meetings, and I was told by the deputy clerk that the township didn't want to pay for a maintenance agreement, so they waited until somebody could do it for free. And if it breaks again, we'll sit and wait again until someone will fix it for free. This was from Terry. Unacceptable.
Before you were talking about Zach, you're saying it was Zach's fault.
No, it's not Zach's fault.
You meant Ross?
Oh, sorry, Ross.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm used to looking.
Zach just is not here.
Okay, so I'm used to.
Go ahead.
I'm used to looking at them both sitting over there. So I looked at Ross, he knew I meant him, and I'm sorry to everybody listening, and I meant Ross. And it's not Zach's fault either. So Ross, again, thank you for all that you do. Also, it was asked how long we've known about this. So 18 months, we were told by, I almost said Professor Cunningham, the supervisor Cunningham, that we were needed so bad. I have a solution for what's going on. It's not too late, you guys. I can name at least 10 people, including myself, including Sarah Dawn in Jersey, that would jump in right now and help organize this. The fact that we're talking a week before what was supposed to be a visioning session and nobody knows what it was going to be like, what the topics were going to be, how it was going to be laid out, I think you guys could really benefit from a citizens group getting together and helping you guys with this. I would devote all kinds of hours to helping, and it wouldn't be me, it wouldn't be my decision, it would be a lot of people talking and putting things together. So I just don't understand why we're not asked to be involved. We would love to help. We would love to, I would love to say, you know, we have a visioning session here. My husband's a musician, he has all kinds of sound equipment. He would set up there, and if the weather's good, we could have it outside. He's got microphones, lapel microphones, everything. And we would do that we would do that to volunteer to help our township.
That's already, you know, that ship's already sailed and it wasn't our decision.
Why didn't you guys speak up and say for us that you want us to help?
We deal with things we're told to deal with.
Okay, so, and that's what I've said from day one. You guys are told what to do, and then you
No,
don't.
we're told, we're given our task and that's what we do.
Well, it's disappointing because you guys are all appointed or elected? I'm sorry, I don't even know.
We're appointed.
Appointed, okay. Unfortunately, with this master plan, we cannot see, I found out last time, we can't see to compare it to the old one, what's in the new. So, what we have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, and I think we talked about this in another meeting, but like in version 1 and 2, this is always Zach's version. We're not comparing it to the 2012 and up.
That's
He
what I
didn't
see.
use that for it. You'd have to just open it up and look at it, but all these red lines on here are just from version to the next.
Yes, I understand that. So I'm just clarifying for people listening in. If you think that you're gonna go to the old master plan that many of us have studied and be able to see what's been changed, that's not how it works. Zach has created something new that's based on pieces and things coming
Yeah,
in.
he's doing more than just editing, I guess.
There's new sections and you cut out some sections, I believe.
What I'm saying is for people listening in that have studied that, that's not the way that it works. Okay, I think that, I'm glad that you're postponing it. I hope that, Ross, that'll be announced on the website, but I also hope that you can push for an email to go out to update everybody, explain what happened. Hey, we don't only do this every 10 years, thanks for, bearing with us, whatever it is. But this is setting the tone, and I'm so glad we're not having a visioning session coming up, because it just looks like it's just not important at all. Nobody knows how it's gonna be conducted or handled or what's on it or, that kind of stuff. I do understand that you say that ship has sailed. I don't really.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not a decision.
Okay, but I think, Steve, that you could go to the supervisor and say, look, this is way more work than what we thought, and we've got residents that want to help. Can we not create a couple of little committees, put them together, have them do certain things that we need to get done, that you guys don't have time to do, that Zach doesn't have time to do? I don't see how that should be a big problem. And I'm asking you, Steve, if you would please approach him and ask him if that's something that could be done. And you know what, and if it makes him feel better, tell him Jeanette Lopetta will not be a part of it.
I'm gonna have to decline that.
Okay, would anybody else like to ask him if he would mind if a group of citizens got together with specific tasks?
Well, Jeanette, I'm not gonna tell you that can't happen, but we're paying Carlisle Workman to do the work. And so I think we have an obligation to have them at least get most of the stuff put together before we say, okay, community, here's what the master plan is going to look like.
Well, I think we could go by direction under Carlisle Workman as well, because he has said many times that he doesn't have time to do certain things. So he could be assigning those things to us as well. I think it could be a wonderful community effort. And I implore somebody to please represent the people and ask if this can be done. So we've got a no from Steve, John, Kurt, Bill.
The master plan is not just the planning commission putting it together. There's input from the board.
Yes. And there should be input
and
from.
we don't control any of the budget or any of that, so we don't
I've never said any of that.
the consultant. So they agreed to that plan that the board's paying for.
And he says he doesn't have time to do certain things. So I'm asking again if we could get involved. I don't think that that's a big ask.
And Zach said this before, it's always been an option. The draft documents are here on this website, and they're in the meeting packet. So if so far we're only through 3 sections, but we'll keep going down the list. As you get comments and you want to do that, mark it up and send it to the planning commission through the email. And we can review those comments.
Okay, so John, I'll repeat this again. My emails don't get read, possibly, don't get answered, possibly don't get read. So.
Ross, the emails that go to the planning commission email address, they go.
Anything that goes to planning commission that I get.
It goes to Rich. So
Okay.
if Rich doesn't pass it on, maybe not, but at least Rich is getting it, so.
Okay, so again, I'm gonna ask if.
Copy me on it if you want.
I'm gonna ask if somebody could please approach him, ask him, and if it makes everyone feel better, you can say Jeanette Lopetta will not be involved, and I can direct you to several people that would like to be involved and help with this. And I think it's really unfair that nobody will stand up for us and say that they'll at least ask.
All right, Scott, you're quite liberal. The issues are, from day one, is Jack does have some problems. And I'm very disappointed too, is the fact there was information that we got after the survey was put together that we needed. Like the age of our, constituents, the township, how many seniors we got. That's stuff that we needed for the survey together.
very disappointed that we didn't have all of it. That's stuff that should have been put together first. So we kind of missed the ball on that one. The hard copies, if you remember, people were coming in, they weren't prepared yet to get them. I got mine here, I came up, got my cards, but the week's pretty good. The week's pretty good. You can only go so far. Don's right. You can only go so far. There's so many people out there. I doubt it will get 20 people in this room. You got the same old people that come to the meetings, and we're the troublemakers. That's what we're called. No matter how hard we try. Our supervisor is butthurt like a sub. He doesn't like to be challenged, and he's still hurting from the asphalt plant. There was a lot of things said, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to commend you, buddy. Our leadership, our plan. You guys are appointed. You're not voting. You're the only one that's voted on it. I will commend you, my friend, for standing up. He's the only one that stood up. And all everybody else cowardly said, well, we got to look at this from both sides. We can't pick. No, hold on. You're a citizen first. Steve was that citizen. Steve was that citizen that stood up and says, I don't think it's going to go here. We're going to take your application and we're going to go with it, but I can't see it happening here. Steve was the only man that had the balls to stand up and say that. He was a citizen first. And he knew what the people like in this township, and he knew what they don't want. And that's where that's where the problem is. You guys can come up here, we want to know where you're coming from, especially budget officials. So, there's no transparency, and, so people get mistrust. So there was a lot of things said. I stood up for the board in the beginning. I'll go back and look at them if I have to. When people were coming out of the board of the asphalt plant, and I said, listen, you guys, they haven't come out and said anything yet, but this went on too damn long. It went on way too long, and there's a lot of bitterness over that. It's not, it shouldn't, that's what comes with the territory. It was very emotional, and there's a lot of emotional things that go on in this township. But we need elected officials, when they run, they stand for something. Stand for something, you got a neighbor says he wants to do this in the township, fine, I said, yeah, okay. But we're going to tell you right now, we're going to take the application, but this is my personal opinion, I don't like it. You're entitled to that, because I'll do everything I can under the law to put your application through. That man was the only one that did it. And that's what, and I'll commend him for it. Thank you, Steve.
I think the whole board was.
Well, no, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying. But you know what? But I'm saying,
we were covered.
yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Don't give me wrong. Listen, what I'm saying is, the people get all bent out of shape because of it. So there's a lot of talking and a lot of mistrust. And it's not fair, but it just went on so damn long. But the problem is now we got a supervisor that's so damn hell-bent on not trying to push that behind him, is that he just wants to hold grudges and he doesn't want to work with people. And you are right, these guys are appointed. So they got to go by the direction of our supervisor.
I get it.
So they're told what to do. They're told they can only do what the man tells them. So I will stick up for them on that. But that's where your problem lies. Our problem lies with communication from them, the office, and our supervisor. And these guys, but Zach, here we lost another meeting. The other one was canceled, so there's 2 meetings. So, like I said, the week's enough. I agree it down. We got to get this thing going. But if we get 20 people in this room, we might get more here on Zoom. But I don't think we're going to get 600 people.
But why is that? Why aren't they going to show up?
Because they don't.
Because they see.
Because it's not if it's not affecting them, they're next door. Like
They don't care.
It's you're
And they see what happens.
bringing public comments to us.
Yeah, no, she asked, but anyways, it is what it is. People only react if it affects them.
Yeah, the townhouse was a pretty emotional subject, and it only got 13% of the
Yeah,
survey.
and you ask people, they just don't get involved.
So we accommodated the request to extend the survey to 17, with the idea that now people can do it, but like Don said, we need to move this forward.
Yeah.
We're getting hit from both sides.
I agree.
We're trying to accommodate everyone.
Like I said, there's some
I
problems.
tell you, I'm getting personally, this, it's getting annoying
Yeah.
the way that the board here is treated personally.
I don't care.
I
don't
think
really
that
care.
I know, but we're trying to do the best we can.
You're not the
And
board,
that's
you're the
all we
planning
can
commission.
do, and all we can do is, with
Well,
the things that we're
okay.
given.
Well, you know what, this goes back a long ways.
Yeah, but let me finish. The mandate we're given is what we have to follow,
Okay.
and that's it. And
That's fine.
And that's all we can
Exactly.
do. I mean,
I
we
just
are
said
setting
that.
our bounds
I just said that.
and doing things that we shouldn't do.
You gotta
So
do
we're
your
trying to
job.
accommodate everyone, we're trying to please people that wanna have the survey
Exactly.
extended, and people like Don that wanna have it
Exactly.
wrapped up.
Exactly, but I've already heard, I've heard feedback. The man is not gonna work with certain people, and that's it. And that's it. The man's, so he would rather stonewall and just, I mean, it's out there. Words travel in this township. I mean, it's not that big of a community. He doesn't wanna work with certain people. And that's all there is to it. You know, I'm sorry, but I think he's had, since the asphalt plant, there's been time to get that thing, it could have been smoothed over a lot, and I don't think it's gonna be, so. And I'm gonna do everything I can next election to get his ass out. That's on the record.
I know I've spoken, I just want to apologize if I thought elected officials would still go to bat for the people. I didn't realize that you take a mandate and that's it. So I apologize for even asking you to do something.
You're saying to elected officials?
Or I apologize, sorry. I apologize for asking appointed officials to go to bat for the people. I didn't realize that you're given a mandate and you do as you're told, and then that's it. I thought that even though you're appointed, that you would step out and go to bat for what the people are asking and saying. So.
For what you want?
Pardon me?
For what you want?
Well, for what several people want, yeah, what the community wants.
We're willing to accept all kinds of comments on this master plan, and this is a written document.
No,
And I haven't seen one written comment yet. The only comments we ever get is the website didn't work and stuff. I mean, I get that that's a concern, but it's not, I'm not the IT guy.
Well, I'm telling you that I have sent things in and I have sent them to Rich.
We haven't
So
gotten
if you guys haven't gotten them, that's not my fault. None of your email addresses are on the township website. How am I supposed to get a hold of you guys? Yours is, because you're on the board, but you guys aren't. So I send to Rich and say share.
And this is like written comments on the
I've
master plan?
sent him several
or agendas?
Okay, so anyway, I'm just stating what the facts are. Again, what I'm saying is, I'm sorry for asking you to go to bat for us if you're not able or allowed to do that.
Thank you. Anything else? And we'll close public comments. There's no miscellaneous business, so I will entertain.
One miscellaneous business item, the Hornbacher special land use application was withdrawn.
Drawn, right?
That's the center local?
Yeah.
Was that marijuana facility?
No,
That was-
No.
Tyrone Hills, across from Tyrone Hills, she wanted to build a barn.
Directional Boarding Company?
The contract included storage.
That was withdrawn?
Yep, that was withdrawn.
Oh, you're talking over here on Center?
On Center Road.
Center
I
Road.
was wondering, because I thought he was over
Remember
there.
they didn't show for the public hearing?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, that was a waste of time. They should be charged for that.
Oh, they paid for it.
Oh, they did? Okay.
They paid for it, yeah. Yeah, but once they found
The
out about,
caregiver one was also withdrawn.
what?
They withdrew?
Was?
Withdrawn.
Oh, I saw they put the property up for sale. Didn't know they withdrew
Well,
it.
that was on hold, wasn't it?
Oh, that property's for sale
Yeah,
now?
well, it was a,
What's for sale now?
yeah, they backed out.
All right,
Really?
Awesome.
all right, guys.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed?